Hey guys, this is Annie from Copy That Converts, the weekly newsletter sent every Monday that covers copywriting tips from product copy to marketing, branding, strategy. I really cover it all. So thank you so much for signing up for my newsletter. I think for the first week, this quick video would be the easiest for me to explain this whole selling a bestseller idea, and also would just be super convenient for you guys. So first, I just want to touch again on where this idea about, kind of focusing on books, why books. For me as a writer, obviously story is really important. And when you kind of look at books and products side by side, there's actually a lot of parallels, not just from a format and structure standpoint, but from, the story perspective, weaving together both the product and story. That's basically what a book is, but also the selling techniques used by publishers. And how you can kind of learn from that established formula and apply that to your product copywriting or marketing strategy. So let's just jump in here. What I did, and I'll walk you through this in a second, is I just picked up a bunch of different books and looked at how publishers or the authors themselves use these selling techniques and this formula that we're going to talk about to hook the customer and get them to purchase the product. And really, when you kind of pick up any book, modern or old or whatever, there's a lot of parallels or similarities rather between the way that publishers present product. And that formula I laid out here, there's really 4 parts to it. The first is this idea of proving that the product is worthy of a purchase. And how they do that is using testimonials. And you'll see in the examples that testimonials are really, really big for this particular product. Whether it's a quote or some kind of stamp of approval, they're really important. So the next is this idea of hooking your customers. So an interesting one-liner that kind of piques interest, but also gets the customer to want to read on and learn more. The next is, really using that hook to set up the explanation. So for a book, that's where the author gets into more detail of what the customer can expect within the book itself. From a product perspective, that's, where you describe things like features and things that, the customer can expect once they sign up. And then finally, every book has a price tag. So it's not typically on the front cover, but it's always on the back cover, right bottom corner. It's the last thing that you see before you decide, is this book something that I'm actually going to purchase? So that's sort of the formula that a lot of best-selling books use to really get customers to buy in. And, you might already be thinking of some ideas of how you can apply that to your product copywriting or your marketing efforts. And we'll talk about those examples in a second. But I just want to walk you through a couple of books that I pulled together to show you how this is really executed from a publisher's or an author's standpoint. So I just grabbed a few books off my shelf. Didn't try to find anything in particular. But the first I pulled off was this modern romance book by Aziz Ansari. It's actually not even my book. I stole it from someone, so hopefully she's not watching this. Anyway, so you'll see that the first thing listed here is this testimonial. It's more of a stamp of approval from the New York Times, an authority on books. That's on the front cover right off the bat. So then when you open up to the back cover, you're seeing another testimonial from Rolling Stone, a quote about how funny the book is. But you'll also see testimonial 3, which is where the New York Times kind of come back in. So they're connecting that stamp of approval with this little quote here from the New York Times on, again, how funny it is, blah, blah, blah. The next thing you're going to see is this hook. So in a short time, the whole culture of finding love has changed. So there's a really interesting idea statement that kind of pulls the customer in and piques their interest and gets them to want to learn more. So then that's followed by the story. So that explanation part of, what's inside this book, what's the approach, what you can expect once you buy it. And then finally, we end on the price tag. So it looks like they're selling this book for $17 US. It's that final thing the customer is going to look at before they decide, is this book right for me? Another one, and again, you're going to see these, themes continuing to arise as we look at different examples. But this is Marcus Samuelsson's book, Yes, Chef. He's a Swedish and Ethiopian chef that I really like. So the first thing you'll see, again, that stamp of approval, New York Times bestseller, followed by the payoff, the quote from the New York Times author here. Then if we hop over to the back cover, we're going to see the hook. It begins with a simple ritual. So in this case, they're obviously using a really story-driven hook here, but the payoff comes to life in that story explanation piece right below. And then, of course, look at all these testimonials, a lot more from, authorities in the food industry and also across other media outlets that people might find interesting. And then, of course, we end on the price, $16 US, $19 Canada. Okay, another one here from David Foster Wallace. This is Consider the Lobster. It's a very popular book many years ago and probably still is somewhat today as well. We open up on a testimonial from the Los Angeles Times book review. Then on the back, we've got a lot more testimonials. We've got one from this man, Jay Swanson, and then we've got a bunch more at the bottom from New York Times, Boston Globe, Guardian. In the center there, we've got the hook, sort of a hook and testimonial in one, but a New York Times notable book of the year, it's kind of that peak interest piece. And then we have the story and explanation. So, telling you what's in the story and what you can expect. And then, of course, ending on price, we have again. So just one more. This is not a bestseller, but I just wanted to show you that, beyond the popular books, there are other books follow the exact same format. So we've got here, The Art of Character, Creating Memorable Characters for Fiction, Film, and TV. And we have this quote, of course, the testimonial on the front page, as per usual. We've got the hook up top, and this is kind of more similar to product copy. I would say it's a little bit more of that explanation style versus a story style, for example. But the ultimate guide to writing captivating characters, kind of sounds like something you might have on your blog or even your homepage. Then we've got the little story explanation here of what the customer can expect once they buy in. And we've got a bunch of testimonials that kind of just give you a little bit more from the perspective of authorities on the subject. And then, of course, we end on the price. Okay, so obviously these are books. Books are not your SaaS product or your platform or whatever it is that you work on. But that doesn't mean we can't use ideas from this clearly very effective marketing technique that publishers use. They've been using it for a long time. They use it across different books. Different publishers use it too. It's not just one publisher. How can we use that to apply it to our product copywriting or marketing? So here's 4 different potential test ideas that you might be able to utilize for your product using this technique. So the first is you could add at least one of the 4 formula elements into your existing homepage. So let's say, for example, you want to add more testimonials, just like the books. Maybe you just add a new section on your homepage, or add more to the section that you have that have more testimonials. Okay. Test 2 could be you create a landing page and you use all 4 elements from the formula to test it. So if you go that route, you're going to be looking at more testimonial or a bunch of testimonials. You'll be looking at that one-liner hook, some type of explanation that tells the customer what they can expect after sign up or buy-in, and then the price. So, maybe this isn't something you typically use on your homepage. It's something you might reserve for your pricing page, but let's try putting it right out there up front with the sign up or by itself in its own category. So the third test idea is try creating multiple hook and story versions. So this could be something you use either on your existing homepage, or you come up with a bunch of different landing pages to test it. Like maybe you've got this one hook and then you use bullet points or some type of overview structure to explain the what's inside part. Or maybe you come up with a more story-driven hook and long-form explanation of what the customer can expect. Just an interesting test that could be something cool to try. Finally, we end on test 4, which is price. This is something, again, you might not be using on your homepage, but why not just try testing it at the bottom of your homepage or even within your sign-up boxes within your CTAs. So, just experimenting with that and seeing if that at all helps with conversion. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. I hope this video really helped explain the concept of selling a bestseller, and you can continue to look forward to more tips like this. Let me know what you think by replying to the email, and we'll talk soon. See you next Monday.